Good afternoon, Crystal. How are you?
I'm wonderful. And yourself?
Doing great. Doing great. It's a
Awesome.
good day.
Awesome.
It's a good day to be me.
Well, that's good. A good day to be you.
So we've got some really interesting things. Oh, they're always exciting to me. Things for us to talk about. Maybe I should stop saying that. But we're going to talk about what we call the shell game, and I'm just going to put a word out that we call it the shell game. It's not always a shell game. Sometimes costs are what they are. And so if you're an HR consultant or if you're a financial advisor or even a plan sponsor, don't be taken in by big guys who are always trying to screw little guys. That's not always the point. Sometimes things cost what they cost. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Let me read your bio first, okay, and then we'll jump into the shell game and what people
All righty.
Here we go. So, hello everyone. Please welcome my friend and colleague Crystal Mitchell to On the Patio. Crystal is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, a co-director of Recycling Black Dollar. She's also the co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. That's another weekly online radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hey, Crystal, how's it going?
It's wonderful. Glad to be here.
Good deal. I'm Jevon Thomas, a licensed retirement plan advisor, and today we're going to talk about the quote-unquote shell game with regard to fees in a 401k plan. So let's just jump into it. First, I want to say, as I said at the top of the show, that fees are there. You have to pay some fees. However, if you happen to be the plan sponsor, you have a responsibility to, a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the fees are appropriate. And this is where people can get into trouble because sometimes we don't actually know what the fees are, right? I mean, as a plan sponsor. And so it's good to hire an advisor to periodically take a look at your fees, i.e., benchmark your plan so that you know how much you're paying, right? It's a good thing to do that on a regular basis. The Department of Labor doesn't suggest that you have the least expensive plan. It never suggests that. But it does suggest that you have a plan that's appropriate for you. Right? So I like to give the analogy that there are all kinds of cars on the road. There are 2-seaters and 4-seaters and huge vans and SUVs. All of those cars are not appropriate for everyone, and the cheapest one is not necessarily appropriate for everyone. So just as there's all kinds of cars on the plan, there's all kinds of things going on with retirement plans with regard to fees. Okay, so one of my favorite expressions is, my plan is free. Okay. Bad answer. Everything costs something.
There's some fee somewhere.
There's a fee somewhere. And just because you're not paying it doesn't mean that it's free, right?
Yeah.
You're paying the fees someplace. Either the fees are inside the funds themselves, like a 12B1 fee, where there's a what we call a load on the fund, or the fees are inside there, or perhaps a sub-transfer fee where the fund company is actually tracking how much individuals are being charged, right? Okay. Or perhaps the carrier that you're using has proprietary funds and they're loading extra fees in there. Right? So you have to take a look and go a little bit deeper. And please, 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 please never say, my plan is free. It's just not. So then, well, where do you see this? Where does this stuff show up, right?
Right.
Actually, it kind of shows up in your invoice, so you got to take a look at that. Maybe if you have more than 100 people in your plan, you get an audit, so that's a good place to take a look at that. The thing is, going back to what I was saying before, is that you don't have to have the cheapest plan. And having the cheapest plan, let me say that a different way. You don't have to have the least expensive plan.
Right.
So having the least expensive plan means you may not be getting the services that you want. You may not be getting the administration that is going to be good to make your retirement plan a profit center rather than just a cost center. So
Right.
the most important thing is to know what it is you're paying for and to know if that's working for your organization. I just want to pound that a little bit. Okay, so where's the best place to find these guys? Where's the really good place to find them? The first place you want to look is the expense ratio of the funds, right? So when I talk to people about individuals about how to choose funds, I always talk about the price of the fund. Always, always. If you have two funds to choose from, which one is less expensive? You have two funds that are the same, two large cap growth funds. They both invest in large companies in a particular industry. Which one should you go for? Well, price is a consideration, right? Along with the management team, along with their philosophy, along with how they've done in the past. And I think that's the last thing you should look at. And we can talk about that later. But you definitely want to look at the price, right? And so that's usually inside the expense ratio. So you definitely want to look at the expense ratio. Okay. So what if someone says, we have what are called bundled contracts? That doesn't mean anything to someone outside the industry, but someone inside the industry is saying inside that fund, not necessarily in the expense ratio, but inside that fund, we are taking advantage of our investment capability and we are charging you a little bit more than it's actually costing us.
Okay.
So if you've got a bundled contract, and usually we see these with companies that have proprietary funds, they may be taking advantage of the fact that they're doing the research anyway. Let's put it that way. They're doing the research anyway. So this research that's applying here can apply there.
Okay.
Conversely, you may be able to use proprietary funds, because I'm a big proponent of proprietary funds, to be part of your portfolio. I don't think they're all necessarily a bad thing, right? So you don't want to discount proprietary funds all the time. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's not a bad idea to have some proprietary funds on your investment lineup. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so for the folks out there, if they don't know what proprietary funds are, what might they be?
Oh, thank you. You would think after 20 some odd years doing this business, I would not fall into that jargon. Great question. Proprietary funds are those funds that are offered by the record keeper. So let's say you have a record keeper. None of them have paid me to say this, but let's say you have a record keeper where the people that are actually sending out your statements, the people that are actually holding the assets for you, and their job is to put that money into the market. Could be a large investment house, could be a large insurance company, the people that send you the statements.
Okay.
Those folks. They are the record keeper. And when we say proprietary funds, we mean their specific funds. Right?
Right. Okay.
Right. So if you're investing with XYZ company and XYZ company has a fund, that's a proprietary fund. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So in general, there's some economies of scale that come when you have your own funds, right? Because you're doing the research anyway. That's one place. So, and you're doing the admin of those anyway. So that's one place. So some folks will say we've got this bundled contract, which would suggest that, since we're managing these assets ourselves, the record keeping is free. No, it's not free. It's not free. There's a group of people over there. They're working. They got to get paid something. Nothing is free. There's
Nothing is
money coming out someplace. Either it's coming out in the expense ratio, or it's coming out in a charge or a fee someplace. So nothing is free.
right.
Okay. All right.
It's,
So it's just
nothing
nothing.
in life is ever free.
Nothing in life is free. So, I was just thinking, we have a bad taste in our mouth for fees. And sometimes we think, well, I don't want to pay the money, right? I don't want to pay the fee. And in actuality, when you get right down to it, I was thinking about this later. The universe is made up of exchange, right? There is no action without a reaction. So if you're
Right.
going to get something, you're going to have to pay. There's no free lunch. And it doesn't matter if it's a mutual fund or an investment or whatever, it costs somebody something. So maybe they're taking the money out at the top and just saying, you know what, you've got so much money, we're going to take a little bit at the top and you're not going to notice it. So there's no fee that we're going to charge you. But you did have to pay that little money at the top. See what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, so if someone says to you, one of my other favorites is, we don't have any administration costs. The record keeping is free. No, record keeping is not free. Either you're paying for it somehow. Either you're paying for it in the expense ratio they're taking some out, or you're paying for it in the total contract that you have, or you may be paying for the record keeping in some other employee fee that you don't know about, or that you're just discounting, right? So
Okay.
I see this a lot in products where there's a basket of services that you're getting for one single price.
Mm.
I want to say people's names, but let's say you go to this one company, you've got a basket of services. And so then you're trying to figure out what is the actual cost. Oh, we just bundle everything together and you only pay one thing. Well, when you're just starting out your business, that's probably a good thing because you've got a lot going on, and to try to tease out all of those costs, it's probably going to be a bit more expensive for you to get individual costs on all of those. So having it all in one place and you only have to pay one bill, probably a good idea. I can't necessarily fault someone about that. I mean, we're in here to make business rather than pay fees, right? However, one example comes to me. I think I put it on your paperwork where someone is saying that, we're only paying $20,000 in fees, when in actuality, they're only paying the $20,000 in that particular fee that they see. But inside the expense ratio, inside the funds and actuality, they're paying about $60,000 for quote unquote admin or a custodial fee or some other kind of fee there.
Okay.
Right. So in actuality, they may be paying $60,000. They thought they were only paying $20,000. They're paying $40,000 more. Right.
Oh.
Right. And now I also have to take a pause here and say, it really depends on who's paying the fees.
Then that's a question. So the fee is actually the company that is providing the 401k. They're the ones that's paying the fee.
Great question. And I'm so glad you brought that up. So yes and no.
Okay.
Right? When you first start out in the company, typically the plan sponsor or the owner or the management team is paying for the administration of the plan, right?
Okay.
So those fees, like the document fee, the fee of making sure that the monies are going to the right places, the insurance, the 338, those types of fees, the fee for through the 316 fee, the fee that you pay to make sure that the administration is correct and that you're checking to make sure that the pay gets into the market all the time, all these fees. Lots of times management is paying for that because there's no assets in the plan, so you can't get it out of there. Okay. But I myself, once that company's been around for a few years, I say, why are you as the management paying this? You could put this on the back of the participants. They're the ones that are investing.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So now the plan sponsor can say, okay, our fees have decreased. The participants are paying the fees, but our
Mm-hmm.
fees have decreased. That doesn't let you off the hook, right? You still have to see, even though the participants are paying the fees in their expense ratio, in the sub TA, whatever it is, even though they may be paying the fees, even though we may be going up a rate class so that the fees can go more on the participants rather than we as management paying them.
Okay.
There's still fees, so you still have to evaluate what that is in the marketplace. Right, so that fee, even if the participants are paying it, still needs to be reasonable.
Okay.
Just because the plan sponsor is not paying it doesn't mean that the
It's not being.
participants it's not being paid. The participants are paying it. So um, you can have often we have those conversations with plan sponsors who say, I don't want to pay these fees, okay? Or I only want to pay part of these fees, okay? We
Mm-hmm.
can put that on the back of the participants, okay? Is that reasonable? Right? Are we
Mm.
charging participants a reasonable thing? I've also
And
had situations though, and not to cut you off, but I've also had situations where the plan sponsor says, you know what? I don't want my participants to pay the fee because I want more money that my participants are investing to go into the market rather than going towards fees. So can you shift the burden of the admin and the running of the van and plan and all that? Can you shift that over to me? I'll pay that.
okay,
Right?
that's a good ball. That's a good company to be working for.
Indeed. Yeah. So then when you're looking at, okay, so you're gonna pay all those fees, those admin fees yourself, great. You want to pay a reasonable amount.
Right.
Right. So it is kind of a complex sort of situation.
And are those fees um, tax deductible for both?
That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up because that's something that I don't usually talk about. So for the plan sponsor, it is a fee, it is a business expense, and you know how that
Okay.
works. You
Uh
can
huh. And so
write
then
that off,
that's a taxable
right?
business
If
expense.
it's on the backs of the participants, they don't get a break. I've never seen a participant get a break for the fees that they're paying inside their retirement plan.
Okay.
I've never seen that. I don't know how they would. It's possible. Now, I have seen fees outside of retirement plans for investing. I've seen that,
Okay.
but I haven't seen it in a plan. So,
And then, well, that might make sense because for the participant, their contributions are pre post tax, right? They're not tax what they're not the money's not coming in the on the net, it's coming on the gross, right? When if they're participatory and they paying $100 every into their for their plan or whatever their contribution is, right?
mhm, mhm.
That's coming off the gross salary, not off the net, isn't it?
Well,
Or is it?
usually, if there isn't a set fee, and sometimes there is, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then the record keeper will charge the individual account, let's say, or charge a fee, right? Because they don't care who
Mm-hmm.
pays it; they just want to get paid.
Right.
So they will charge a fee. It'll be an annual fee of, let's call it, 50 basis points.
Okay.
Right. So that 50 basis points will be assessed every month. And what they'll do is they'll say, okay, you owe 50 basis points, but we're only going to bill you once a month. So every month you get 1/12 of the 50 basis points. And that 50 basis points is based on all the assets in the plan. Right. So every month they look at how many assets in the plan. Did it grow? Did it not grow? What have you? How many assets? The assets are
Okay.
X. We're going to charge you 50 basis points, but since this is only, we're only do that once a month, so we're going to charge you 1/12 of the 50 basis points
Okay.
every month.
Every month. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I got it. But
yeah.
the company itself is a business expense for them.
Yes, it is, and that's a great selling point for newer companies, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they can say, "Hey, we're going to offer this plan to our newer, our new participants, our new employees, and
Mm-hmm.
to sweeten the pot a little bit, we're going to take on the fees so that more of their investing dollars go into the market rather than to go and pay fees." Pretty good selling point if you tend to contribute quite a bit of your income.
Okay.
More of your income goes to the investing.
To the investment part. Okay.
On the
All
other
right.
hand, yeah, on the other hand, an employer could say, you know, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to invest. And so if you want to invest, you got to pay for it.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
Fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that either. Right?
No.
Yeah. So all in all, when we get right down to it, uh, the real thing to consider or to watch out for if you're an HR consultant or if you're someone in HR that's making a decision as to what plan to go with, anytime a salesman walks in and says, "This is a free plan," tell them to get out. There is no such thing as a free plan, right? Um, and every time you hear someone say this is "quote unquote" bundled, that's one of the terms I like to use in the industry. It's bundled, that we don't have
Bundled.
separate parts, right? We don't have a document person. We don't have a record keeper. You know, a third party administrator is what I call a document person. We don't have a third party administrator. We don't have a record keeper. We don't have an investment house. They're all bundled all in one thing. You got one nice price.
Okay.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag. Anytime you have one price, it's opaque. You can't really see what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
There's a good chance somebody's making money. As my mother
Mm.
would say, it doesn't matter what the deal is, somebody's making money on that deal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, what's the answer? How do you make sure that you're paying a price that's commensurate with the amount of service you're getting and the investment options that you have? You got to benchmark the plan. And you got to benchmark that plan. I would say, well, the DOL suggests you benchmark it every 2 to 3 years. I like benchmarking plans every 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the deal.
Okay.
Any last things? Any words of wisdom?
No, I think again, clarity and understanding what is actually happening, especially since this is for the future of for your future and your retirement. So you want to understand on all aspects of it. I believe I would think. So
Yeah.
no, there are no surprises to you
Mhm.
on exactly what is going on with your retirement plan, and it's being well taken care of by reputable people.
Cool. Couldn't ask for more than that. Okay, so I'm going to read your bio and
Okay.
then we're going to sign off. How's that?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Everyone, this has been Conversations on the Patio. I'm Jevon Thomas, licensed plan advisor, and Crystal Mitchell, my friend and co-host, is a business coach and consultant. She is the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions. She is the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, the co-host of the Business Zone, that other radio show. She is an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Thank you for joining me, Crystal. It has been great as usual. Appreciate that last word. And for you folks that are listening in, thank you. And we'll be back next week with another
Okay.
throwback. Edgy
Bye bye,
talk.
everyone.
See you now.